Our training today will be on immunity and allergies. Before we start, I'd like to give you a brief introduction of who I am. I am Eldon Dahl, the founder and CEO of Life Choice. I'm a trained naturopathic doctor and hold a doctorate in natural medicine. I began this company in 1986 as a means of treating my patients. As a researcher, my focus is directed on the disease process and its correlation of development, in essence, how it happens and why. Before we start, I need to read a health disclaimer. The information that will be discussed is not intended nor meant to substitute for the advice provided by your doctor or other healthcare practitioner, and not intended for diagnosing or treating a health problem or disease condition, or prescribing any medication. The information provided is for informational purposes only. As I said, the training will be on immunity and allergies. Today's society is challenged on many fronts concerning immunity and allergies. And for the record, allergies are a result of weakened immunity. Allergies are disorders of the immune system. Most allergic reactions are a result of an immune system that responds to a false alarm, such as dust, mold, or pollen, and encountered, the immune system may react dramatically by producing antibodies that attack the allergen, resulting in wheezing, itchiness, runny nose, watery or itchy eyes, and various other symptoms. Factors that contribute to a weakened immunity is basically the Western Canadian diet and how it has been spread throughout the world, and the toxic chemicals such as GMO foods and hidden sugars and depleted soil in the production of the production of food. These impact our intestinal flora, as all bodily disease originate in the gut. Hippocrates made that statement over 2,000 years ago without knowing the state of the affairs that we have today, and he was dead on right. Other factors are daily stress, our water supply, and environmental toxins, well as electric smoke such as Wi-Fi. These smartphones are emitting a lot of toxic residues and are contributing to cellular disorders within the body, breaking down of the tissues, mental disorders, and cancer. And also we've depended so much on electronics, even a garage door opener will emit in all directions up to 100 feet. These things that we take for granted on a normal basis, but they all become toxic as they build within the body. Also the consumption of alcohol. And it is a very interesting factor that The Lancet reported that this generation of baby boomers is in the highest level since they recorded the statistics of consumption of alcohol. It's probably how they're dealing with the stress of living in today's society. And one of the worst culprits is really an overuse of antibiotics, stemming from how they inject them into our animals, into our farm fish, and also by prescription. The world is facing a crisis of resistance to antibiotics, and we have really no defense. Actually, it's starting to show in China now, where women are developing strains of bacteria that there is nothing that can help with that, and also livestock such as cattle and swine are actually developing the same. So we can see how it's just setting the pattern for something, any disease that could actually start and grow could quickly become a global concern. Excuse me. So all these factors deplete our healthy supply of beneficial enzymes and healthy bacteria and allow disease to take a hold, beginning with yeast strains within the gut. Immunity and allergies. And really, what can we do to stay healthy when we see this onslaught coming our way? Thymus gland. The thing is that thymus gland is an amazing gland, and it's really, except for some naturopathic doctors, it's virtually unknown in the health food industry. And yet I've used it for over 20 years, and it's one of the most powerful tools that there is for a healthy immune system. Thymus gland weighs less than a half an ounce at birth, and the thymus gland reaches its maximum size during puberty. And then it gets, and it starts to shrink after the age of 20. And here's where we see the age-related decline of the thymic function. In our early 20s, we have an abundance of well-functioning T cells that regulate the immune system and help the body fight off pathogens and disease. But with the shrinking of the thymus gland over time, by age of 40, the output of thymic hormones has decreased significantly, and the T cells have begun to lose their effectiveness. T for T cells is thymus. It's thymus. It is the gradual loss of functioning T cells that is thought to be responsible for many of the age-related changes in our immune system. And restoring thymic function. Thymic animal extracts have demonstrated the ability to dramatically reverse thymic atrophy and restore levels of immunity to much more youthful levels, in addition to being among the most effective immune-enhancing agents known. Thymic extracts and thymic hormones are among the few agents that are documented to extend the lifespan of experimental animals. White blood cells, called T cells, develop in the bone marrow and then mature in the thymus gland, where they are converted into specialized T cells. So those who have illnesses involving compromised immune system, such as HIV, or could be related to AIDS, that still is a debate, MS, and cancer, can benefit by giving an immunity boost with thymus gland. Thymus gland helps in the thymus gland function, helps maintain immune function, helps in connective tissue formation, and healthy skin maintenance. Now, ours is derived from organic, grass-fed New Zealand lamb. And many of the processed brands of thymic extract generally consist of ground-up thymus gland. This product contains a conglomerate of biologically inactive thymus tissue, and cell debris, and fragments of thymus proteins and thymus byproducts. At LifeChoice, we use whole gland, not extracts, and it's derived from organic, New Zealand, grass-fed ovine sheep because they are not as fat as bovine. The grasslands are non-fertilized, and the animals are not administered feed supplements, hormones, or antibiotics. The glands are quick frozen and never exceeding minus 5 Celsius, and their cell structure is not damaged and is preserved in its biological active live state. Source material are not subjected to organic or aqueous solvents, and therefore no chlorohydrocarbons remain as residue in the tissue. This makes the gland bioactive in the body, which I always like to refer to as in a form that's cellular absorbable. And because thymus gland needs certain supporters to get delivered to the cells, this is why we put P5P, the active, that pre-digested form of B6, and zinc bicolinate, because they aid in the delivery to the cells. The expected benefits, as I've said, longevity, reduction of immune-compromising diseases, lessening the effect of cancer and this nature, helping with diseases such as MS, compromised immune system, and on a daily basis for prevention. I would recommend for myself, I take one every morning for breakfast. If I travel, I double up. I take up to 3 upon air travel, and upon my destination, another 3. And for 3 days, I take 6 a day following. Even if your partner, living in close proximity, develops a cold or a flu, and if you're taking 6 thymus gland a day, you will have a much greater possibility of not contracting anything from that disease. It maintains your body's T cells. It's very important. The next product I'd like to talk about is ephedra. Ephedra should not be confused with ephedrine. That is what they take from ephedra, make an extracted form, a juiced up form that has been associated with a lot of side effects due to abuse. Not really that it's harmful for the body so much, but it's in an extracted form, and really when you take something as nature has intended from its most natural source, which the ephedra is from a root, it becomes therapeutic and acts as a decongestant, relieves bronchial spasms, and useful for respiratory conditions such as asthma. If you wake up some days and say if there's strong barometric pressure drops or raises, and you feel a pressure behind your ears, and that's a buildup of your sinuses, or you feel it along the nasal bridge. This is where ephedra, when you take it in, will help open your sinus and help with the drainage. So what ephedra also does is stimulates the nervous system to enhance mood, reduce fatigue, and its ability to increase energy and endurance. And it does through an increase of blood flow to the muscles, resulting in an increase of oxygen and the nutrient supply to the muscles. And it increases the basal metabolic rate. So that is it gets your system going and your energy level so that your body is spurred to burn calories. So it speeds it up through the furnace of your body called the mitochondria. What I recommend to take is probably about a half a teaspoon, quarter to half a teaspoon, depending on how you react to the product. So start with less, work your way up so it relieves allergies. Wonderful product for allergy season. Opens up the nasal passages and increases your energy production. Next product I like to talk about is colloidal silver. And what an amazing product colloidal silver is. There are controversies on colloidal silver, and some of them are substantial. If you take too much, because the silver residue sometimes stays within the tissues, you can turn blue. And every time you read that on say Health Canada or the FDA website, they'll show that, the side effect. Also, what I find is that there is a difference when you have one that's from homeopathic form. So it's an excellent remedy against bacterial infection. It's a time-tested antiseptic and disinfectant. It's effective support for the immune system. Its homeopathic preparation ensures safety. And because it's the best of both worlds, our formulation, it begins from a starting position of 20 parts per million electrically charged. And what we do is we don't use the new technology of nanotechnology. we avoid nanotechnology because we haven't found that nanotechnology is proved to be safe. It needs to be a long-term study to really give that confidence. And nanotechnology, as I say, is a debatable because if we look back on nanotechnology, we see that, for instance, in 2004, a report from the United Kingdom Royal Society and the Royal Academy of Engineering recommended that nanoparticles, the carbon molecules, be treated as hazardous waste. In another study, nanotechnology carried risks, the primary risk being lung damage. Studies have shown that most nanoparticles migrate to the lungs, and other organs are susceptible to damage as well. Scientists have found that sometimes an overactivity of this destruction process leads to cell death. And we're seeing nanotechnology come into a lot of different forms, not only in colloidal silver, but a lot of the forms of medication. And until we have at least a generation to go back and see the safetiness of it, we are avoiding to produce our products with nanotechnology. So several recent studies have shown that colloidal silver is effective for multiple drug-resistant pathogens and superbugs. It also increases the effectiveness of antibiotics against staph infection. And silver has shown promise in personal care, hygiene, and healthcare. Now, this about antibiotics. As we said, antibiotics are running their course, and they are becoming less effective, if not non-effective, because of overuse. A recent outbreak that we had of Ebola was a great example to bring the disease process into the limelight. What we found is a worldwide panic on Ebola. But in 2009, the United States Air Force did a clinical trial using colloidal silver to treat Ebola. And the results we have posted on our website. It's in our newsletter that will be out on the 11th of December. And there it shows the study on how colloidal silver was effective in treating Ebola and actually healed the person from the disease. Because colloidal silver is non-patented, there's no money in it, it's relatively cheap. There was no scientific community that would do the research to prove that. And the study from the U.S. Air Force seemed to be non-existent when it was needed. So what we say for it relieves scratchy throat and boosts the immunity. This is what our label claim says. But colloidal silver is used in hospital operation rooms. And what they use is to cleanse and sterilize the tools that they use for surgery. So it's very effective in warding off the disease process and keeps things so the disease process is stopped. The next product I would like to talk about is Lactic and Probiotic. It's human origin strains. And the reason human origin strains is because we are humans. When you use plant-based, it has to convert into something that our body can absorb it into the intestinal tract because it's not familiar with that environment. And so they remain longer in the intestines. And so the way ours is manufactured does not feed the bad bacteria, and that is because of the prebiotic that we use. We use inulin and phos, and they feed only the good bacteria. It's shelf stable. Now that's a great benefit too, because shelf stable is when you buy sometimes a probiotic and put it in your fridge shelf, it gets shifted and you forget to take it. And secondly, if it's not in the fridge, it loses potency rather quickly. And another thing with other brands that are commercially on the shelf is when as soon as you take the lid off and you expose the bottle to oxygen, they oxidize and lessens their potency. Well, ours are blister packed, and so they're oxygen sealed. So there is no contamination whatsoever. So even if you take one Lactocan on a Friday, the whole group will stay active to the following week without losing anything because none of them have been exposed to oxygen. We use 10 billion clinically proven and scientifically tested strains. And we use the strains that are most familiar in a healthy gut. And that's the Lactobacillus ramos, Lactobacillus acidophilus, Lactobacillus casei, and the Bifidobacterium longum. And this is the type of concentration that the body has in a healthy gut. Probiotics have been found to aid in tumor reduction. They also exhibit some anti-carcinogenic effects. In one study, they had 18 healthy males and females who were switched from a dairy-rich diet to a dairy-free diet. And with dairy removed, the cell survival decreased from 34% to 20%, revealing potential tumor-promoting activities. Lactocan can benefit the disease condition that are associated with a compromised gastrointestinal tract. It is designed to survive in the intestinal acid and bile, unlike several other probiotic brands. Probiotics are known for their digestion abilities, but not so much for their immune properties. So Lactocan, again, is designed to implant themselves on specific receptor sites for longer lasting, consistent effect. So the pathogens or the bacteria, not the good bacteria, the bad bacteria, have a harder time sticking to the intestinal walls. They're completely vegan and shelf stable without having to be refrigerated. Probiotics can help symptoms of lactose intolerance, hepatic disease, inflammatory disease, allergies, and other immune disorders. Probiotics can reduce inflammation and translate into other areas of the body. An article published in the Journal of Nature reiterated that gut microbiota influence normal physiology, contributing to disease ranging from inflammation to obesity and even the central nervous system. And we find now that the scientific community is actually making that connection that the gut bacteria is contributing to mental health. There is a link between what's happening in the intestines and what's happening in the brain. We are interrelated beings, and what happens in one area influences another. So this shows that gut health can even help influence brain function and behavior. The next product is the amino acid Lysing. It's an amazing product for dealing with the immune system. Lysing is most commonly known for its reduction in the recurrence of cold sores and the herpes virus. But it repairs tissue after surgery and when recovering from sports injury, so it repairs collagen. Again, fever, blisters, herpes virus, aids in the production of growth hormone, helps to reduce the occurrence of migraine headaches, aids in the production of hormones, antibodies, and enzymes. And the thing that makes our production different is its free form and by fermentation. The potency is 1,000 milligrams per capsule, which I think is one of the most potent ones on the market today. But I'd really like to draw emphasis to the fermentation process. Fermentation process, there's two ways. There's either a chemical extraction process, which takes either human byproducts or animal byproducts. So we can refer to either human hair, horse hair, duck feathers, or they're using sewage sludge. Yes, sewage sludge as a starting position. And when they put this in the vat, they add chemicals. And the chemicals are meant to break down the nutrients within this origin and to break it down to the point where they can isolate, in this case, L-lysine. It's for me, I envision a dead process. You're forcing something to become something through chemicals, synthetic means. When we deal with a fermentation process, what we're doing is we're taking something that's either derived from sugarcane or non-GMO corn, and we allow a natural process, a vegan process to begin. And what we do is we put that in the solution. And what fermentation needs is to have oxygenation. Life-giving oxygenation has to be pumped within the solution. And what happens is the solution starts to grow and proliferate. And because so much oxygen is there, we have 30 enzymes are produced, and it becomes a live food source, a live amino acid. At the end, there's no harsh chemicals remain, and the product is enzymatically active, so it's absorbed to the cellular level, whereas the chemical extraction version only uses up to 1 to 3 enzymes, and the body has to convert it so it's not absorbed with the same potency. And today, sadly, most amino acids on the market today, because of price and because the Chinese market made them so cheaply available, are produced by chemical extraction. Lysing aids in the production of antibodies, hormones, and enzymes, and works with vitamin C to help form collagen and tissue repair. Some research theorized that lysine exhibits antiviral qualities because it causes a breakdown in the protective sheath of the virus. Now, a virus, what they do is they come with a cloaking device. And so they mask themselves in the body so that our immune system, our T cells, and our white blood cells come down to look for them. They can't see them. They're smart. They change their DNA. And so what we do is lysine sees this and breaks down that sheath that protects them so the body can eliminate them. The next product that I like to talk about is adrenals. And we're familiar with fatigue in this society, and adrenals are the ones we call adrenal fatigue is the condition that we know today. And it occurs when one's body cannot adequately meet the demands of stress. Adrenal fatigue can occur as a result of a major crisis or physical, emotional, or psychological interruption in our body, or as a result of compounded small stresses. The symptoms of adrenal fatigue may include difficulty to get up in the morning, constant fatigue throughout the day, a decreased sex drive, and an addiction to your caffeine dependency. Can't start the day without coffee. Decreased productivity, increased time needed for recovery from injury and trauma, and stress, and low blood pressure, and for sweet and salty cravings, and depression. So you can see how these things work with sugars and lower immunity. It just brings us down so we don't function proper. This is where the adrenal glands are very beneficial. And adrenal glands are interrelated with thyroid gland. And today, anywhere from 70–80% of the public today are thyroid deficient in one way or the other. And so when a weakened thyroid is, then it affects your adrenals. And so that's our endocrine system work hand in hand together. Our adrenal gland is from cattle. It's from New Zealand. The same applies what we described with the thymus. We get it from the same source, but these are extracted from cattle. So they're whole, desiccated, raw tissue concentrates. And adrenal strengthens the adrenal gland. It's derived, as I say, from New Zealand bovine, and we really can't get a label claim on our product. So our label claim is the development of bones and teeth. But as you can see, and adrenal fatigue, what it does, and what the adrenal glands do in the body. And as we discussed how when you take animal tissue glands into the body, how it benefits the human body. Adrenal gland is very beneficial. And the supporting ingredients that we put with the adrenal gland are the calcium ascorbate, which is a buffered calcium vitamin C, and the herb gotu kola. These aid in the delivery to the cells with the adrenal gland. Now, in conclusion, we are what we've been told that what we eat. Yet the truth be known, we are what we absorb to our cells. Absorption is achieved by providing the exact nutrients, be it in food or supplements, in the proper amounts and in the manner our cells were created to receive them. In other words, absorption is synonymous with natural design and delivery, as nature has intended. Maintaining a strong immunity can greatly contribute to avoiding disease, and it all comes down to making the right healthy choices. And these are eating organic as much as possible, reading your labels and avoiding GMO foods, so eating non-GMO foods, and exercise daily. And another thing is, we get so like couch potatoes and we're behind our desk and we're sitting too long. And sitting has been associated recently by the World Health Organization as being equal to smoking. The other factors are sleeping at least 8 hours a day. We're not getting enough sleep. And as a way of prevention, taking quality supplements. Your once a day vitamins, crossing your fingers that they'll do the rest. That's just a pipe dream, and really you're just wasting your money. If you are taking supplements, the way to take a supplement is to take it so it's going to do the job. Take it how it was designed to do the job. Now, what we do is we know the screening process, and we have carefully designed each and every formula in the Life Choice product line so it is delivered to the cells. What you need is, we have barriers in our body. We have blood-brain barrier, we have the intestinal barrier, we have these barriers, and unless you have the proper devices built into the product, it cannot unlock the receptor sites to be delivered to the cells. And so what we do is we source our raw material, USP pharmaceutical grade, all are non-GMO, no parabens, no additives, and they are not radiated. And we purchase them from the purest sources of the world. They're pharmaceutical grade, either from Japan, USA, or Europe. We restrict or limit the amount that come from China. We make an exception when the company, the original company, say is a Japanese company, an American company, where they have a high standard and they manufacture under GMP standards. We would buy that through China on that basis only, because we know the same standards that is used in their other facilities is used in production there. Our hormonal products are vegetarian, with the exception of our raw tissue gland formulations. And as we know, hormones need to be taken by pharmaceutical grade. You can't risk it anything less. Our amino acids are free-form and fermented. They're live, they have the oxygen, they have the cellular built within them. They're enzymatically active, and the purity must be 99.9% or higher. And we encapsulate our formulas in vegetarian capsules, and not the cheaper animal gelatin form. because we believe that the quality of each and every component is paramount for therapeutic results. We strive to maintain a consistent high quality in all our medicinal formulations because great quality yields produce noticeable lasting results. And this is where I recommend when you're buying your supplements, read the labels, know what you're taking, don't waste your money, and there's no reason at all why we can't live well into our 90s being healthy. Thank you and have a good evening.